with Japan, there is scope for growing business. We've done decently on investment. We have a target of 5 trillion yen. We have, I believe, reached about halfway in the target. That's what I was told. The changing geoeconomics and new investment strategies of many countries, we have to work much harder on. I think the strategic people in Japan also appreciate that they have to work with India, that our interests are very convergent. The business logic still hasn't got that kind of, I would say, weight and momentum in their own system. But I think the really missing piece to me is the societal connect, the skill connect, the language connect among South Asians. Actually, India has the lowest number of people in Japan. So there are big gaps there. And we need to work much harder at those gaps.
My question is related towards the Indo-Pacific, sir. In a recent visit to the Indo-Pacific region and specifically to Japan and Philippines, the impression that we got was the strategic autonomy of India has got acceptance, a large acceptance there. That is one. However, the business ethics are a little, they need to be worked out in a little better manner so as to engage Japan in a more beneficial way.
From time to time, we are challenged. There have been occasions in some of our neighbors when we have become the political issue. And if you look at the extent of proofing, I would actually suggest to you, we've done some good work there, that we have actually managed to mitigate some very sharp situations. So I do see that really as a continuing issue. I think it is a policy which I feel has served us well. It needs to be built upon. And in many ways, to me, the 2 or 3 crisis points, or where they have really judged us. One, I think, was the Sri Lanka economic crisis. That while everybody else, including the IMF, was taking its own sweet time, we actually moved very decisively, very quickly, and very massively. Our bilateral package is 1.5 times the IMF package. And today, if anybody goes to Sri Lanka and look at really what public opinion in Sri Lanka feels about us, and, we have some pretty complicated history in that country, you can see the impact that it has made. I would say to some degree it has also been the case with the other neighbors when it came to COVID, that, almost all the neighbors got their first vaccines from us. When the Ukraine conflict took place, they appreciated the fact that in many cases, many of them actually had, because they buy basically energy on the spot market, many of them were actually not even getting response to their tenders because of the tight energy market at that point. Now they realized having a pipeline to India, being part of a larger economy's pull factor is something that benefits them. So, the neighborhoods for any country, especially for big countries, will never be easy. But neighborhoods need hard work, and frankly, given some other neighbors that we have and they have, neighborhoods will also be very competitive. And, there's no point moaning and groaning about it. I think if we have a competition, we need to compete. And that's really what we are trying to do. So, at least in our neighborhood, we have shown that we have the ability to stand up, to push our interests, to compete against other countries, and often, I would say, out-resource them and definitely outperform them. So I do think we have a very, solid record out there. On Japan, I wasn't entirely clear on one comment. You said something about business ethics, but I do accept that, with Japan, there is scope for growing business. We've done decently on investment. We have a target of 5 trillion yen, which is $42 billion till 2027 as new investments to come in for those 5 years. We have, I believe, reached about halfway in the target. That's what I was told. But the fact is, given today, the changing geo-economics and new investment strategies of many countries, we have to work much harder with Japan. My own sense, I've just come back from Japan day before yesterday, and yesterday actually evening we had the Speaker of the Japanese Parliament here with a political business mixed delegation. We have, in a sense, a basic political understanding. I think the strategic people in Japan also appreciate that they have to work with India, that our interests are very convergent. My sense is the business logic still hasn't got that kind of, I would say, weight and momentum in their own system. It's doing decently, but at a certain flat level. We are not seeing pickups. There are some good trends. In fact, this week there's been big investment ramp-ups by both Toyota and Suzuki. But we need to see something much bigger than that. But I think the really missing piece, to me, is the societal connect, the skill connect, the language connect. Some of you would be shocked that among South Asians, actually India has the lowest number of people in Japan. That there are more Nepalis, Sri Lankans, Bangladeshis, Pakistanis working in Japan than there are Indians. If you look at the number of students, there are 1.3 million students, Indian students across the world. There are 1,500 Indian students in Japan. So there are big gaps there. And we need to work much harder at those gaps because, especially with Japan, if you don't drill down and make it happen and, fix it bottom up, it's not going to unfold by itself. It's not a headline-driven relationship. It is actually a bottom-up, grunt work kind of relationship.